Are you ready for it?
Whoop, whoop. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Here we go, episode 4, Lumber and Leather podcast presented by Lynx Baseball. Lynx Baseball is sponsored by Marucci. Marucci is the official bat of Major League Baseball. Marucci, honor the game. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a very special guest with us today, Vice President Manny Beltran. Manny, how you doing today?
Good, man. This is a travel day at work, so stopped to do this with you.
Nice. Well, we appreciate that. Guys, Manny is our vice president. He is my right hand. He is the main reason why all of this stuff can happen, why we do what we do. He's extremely valuable to the organization, to me personally as a friend. We talk, I'd say pretty much every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 4 or 5 times. Yep, that's true. I feel like I talk to him on the phone more than I talk to my wife. So hope she doesn't hear this and get on me about that. But Manny, let me tell the listeners about the background in baseball for you.
Yeah, so just like everybody else, started playing t-ball, doing all that good stuff. Played for the Charlotte Megastars for my showcase time with Coach Jeff McNeely. He was a big leaguer with the Red Sox for a little bit. Still talk to him today. Really good guy. Signed a letter of intent to play at North Carolina A&T. Kind of didn't do what I was supposed to do in the classroom. I had other stuff going on that I was more worried about. Transferred to Lenore Community College. Played in the College World Series there. Back-to-back years, we were top 10 in the country, end to end. And then I played a little bit in Puerto Rico for a couple of years. And then I kind of stepped away from the game for a little bit, started my professional career, started a family, all that kind of stuff. Met Jon probably 5 years ago now, and we've been kind of doing this ever since.
Yep. Yeah, Manny and I met while we were working for another organization who shall remain nameless. We just decided that we could do things. Do things a little better.
I think it came out where we didn't like the way that they did business. That people were a number, and it was their day job, right? And you and I don't need to tell parents XYZ so we can pay our light bill.
Yep.
We like to have very open, honest, and upfront conversations with people, and I think we wanted the freedom to do that. And I think this industry needs a little bit more of that. So if we can help provide that service, I think that was the main reason we decided to do this.
Yep. No, totally agree. What? Tell us about your role for the organization. What do you do for Lynx Baseball?
It's probably easier to say what I don't do.
Fair.
But I guess my main role is recruiting, both internally and externally, getting players in the organization, and at the end of the day, getting kids out of the organization onto college fields. I look at this as I want to be for some of these kids what I wish I would have had when I was their age, with getting good advice from people and things like that. Because my dad's from Puerto Rico, he didn't play college baseball, right? Back in those days, it didn't really happen like that, so he didn't know. I'd like to think I know a little bit, not a whole lot. There's still a whole lot to learn, and there's probably people who are better at it than I am, and that's fine. But so that's my main role. I also run the Twitter, the Instagram, all the social media, all that kind of stuff. And kind of brand positioning, brand growth for us, dealing with, the Marucci's and the Chinook Seedery and a couple of other things that we have coming up for the NIL brand ambassador type stuff. Anything that we can do to help the kids get prepared for the next level, just because of the way the landscape is, NIL is here to stay. So if we can have our kids prepared for that and already doing that in their, freshman, sophomore year of high school, better for them, right? In the long run.
Yep, that's right, guys. I don't think I'm gonna brag on Manny a little bit. Well, actually, I'm gonna let him do it. I'm just gonna tee him up for it. As far as recruiting kids out of the organization and getting them onto the next level, what's our number at?
I think we're over 150 in the last. We're going into our 4th summer doing this. In the last 3 years, we had 150 something commits. We had 45 last year alone. And it makes my job pretty easy with the type of kids we bring in. We do a pretty good job. It's not, hey, you want to come play for us because you're good and I need to fill a roster spot. We talk to the kids, we talk to the families, we make sure they're fit, we make sure we're fit for them and what they're looking for. I think our retention rate is 90+%, right? It's like
Yeah.
92, 93% every year. So once you come, you stay for the most part. And I think that speaks to the way we do it, right? It's not, we don't just invite you to a tryout. We've only done one tryout, as far as I know, since we've
Yep.
been doing this. We
2.
actually take time to build a relationship, get to know people, what they like, what they dislike, and kind of just approach it that, we're a little different. And, a lot of people say that, but I truly think that we live it. And if you talk to some of the families that are here, they'll tell you it's way different.
Yep. Yep. Couldn't agree more. What are some things that you like most about doing this?
Uh, so I work in sales for my day job, and it's all about building relationships. So building a relationships with some of these kids that I coached 3, 4 years ago that still text me and still call me, and the parents, kids like Carter Deerdorf, kids like the Kavanaughs, like people like that are just good people outside of baseball who you build a relationship with, you get to know them a little bit, you check in with them every once in a while, and it's not just baseball talk. It's how's life? Because at the end of the day, that's the important stuff. Baseball eventually ends for everybody.
Yep.
What do you have after that, right? Um, so I would say that's my favorite part, is just getting to know all these different types of people and building relationships with them, and keeping up those relationships.
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely very rewarding, very satisfying. We had a long talk about Carter Deerdorf on the last episode. We taped it on when I think we taped it yesterday, but the boys and I were chopping it up. Actually, no, scratch that. Episode 2 was Carter Deerdorf. We talked about him quite a bit, and Dennis was saying that whenever he hears you talk about Carter, you talk about Carter like he's your own son. And I just think
That's
that,
my guy.
yep, that's right. And that's the kind of relationships that we build with our players, our parents, and things like that. Guys that come through the organization. Those are things that we want because we are trying to help prepare those kids for life. Right? It's not just about baseball.
And look, we've had kids who have come in, they've played for us, they're good players, they could probably play in college, and they've gotten some looks, and they've decided like, hey, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And we support them in that, right? Like
Yep.
they become welders, they become functional members of society, and at the end of the day, that's really all we can ask for.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Something I wanted to get in with you, kind of jump in, feet first, is what you're most proud of after these first 3 full years of doing this.
So that's a long answer, because it's a couple of different things. I think the fact that we've been able to help a lot of kids, because we started this kind of out of nowhere, didn't really have really a plan. Even we just said, hey, let's start an Instagram and see what we get, right?
Yep.
So I would say bringing in some kids in that 21, 22 class who didn't really have a whole lot of anything going on recruiting wise, um, getting all those kids placed and just kind of continuing that tradition, right? Like we bring kids in, they come from other organizations, they say, we're not getting the help we need, or we're not getting the attention we need, and I'm not getting any visibility. I'm open to go play anywhere. And we bring them in and they play for a couple of weeks for us, and not because of anything that we do, but they come, they do the right things, they perform on the field, and they get seen and they get scholarship offers, right? At the end of the day, we want kids to play in college. We've had a couple of draft picks and stuff like that in the couple of years we've been doing this, but those are the kids who don't necessarily need our help, right? Those are the kids who they're good. They're going to be seen by somebody anyway.
Yep.
It's taking care of those kids who need the visibility, need the help, need the guidance, and have those conversations of, hey, look, everybody's not a Division I player. Everybody's not a top tier junior college player. Let's find out where you fit, so you're not transferring out 2 or 3 times. Um, and then I think just growing the brand as a whole, right? Like we started off as the Dodgers. We did the Dodger Scout team for a while. We had a lot of success. Really appreciative of the Dodgers for bringing us in and letting us kind of do our own thing and supporting us in the ways that they did. But starting the Lynx thing, now we're partners with Marucci, and now we're partners with Chinook, which is the official seed of USA Baseball and all that kind of good stuff. So
Go
just
Route and everybody else. What do we have?
yeah,
5 or 6
Go
sponsors
Route is
now?
huge. Go Route is huge, right? Like I think that's a big one for our kids because everyone's using that technology at college. So they're going to be
Yep.
more prepared. The learning curve is less once they get there than it is for some kids, right? So just building good partnerships with brands that fit our mission and fit what we're trying to do for our kids and not just saying, yeah, everybody come in, we'll be a partner with everybody. Just kind of being a little bit more selective at this point.
Yeah. And I think to add on, I think my biggest the thing that I'm most proud of, I think, is the relationships. The way that our former players and parents talk about us to other people. I know that, we got a great player for our 25 team for nothing else but Carter Deerdorf throwing our name out there saying, "Hey, I really like this." And the next thing you
And you know
know, we
what?
get Ty Harvey.
And you know what? What's funny enough is Deerdorf was a recommendation from another kid that we already had in the organization. So like it
Yep,
started way back then. And I mean, Ty Harvey's going to play in the big leagues one day.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? That kid is the real
Absolutely.
deal. He is top-notch human being, top-notch person, teammate, like anything you can think of. He is like the epitome of it.
Yep. Yep. I think that for me is the biggest compliment that we could get as an organization is you have guys like Carter Deerdorf recommend Ty Harvey. You have, Ty Harvey recommend, Max Prejda, the Okaharas, those families. I mean, you know, I think at the end of the day, Carter might not be a big leaguer, but I think Carter's going to be a professional,
I think
right?
so.
I think Ty is going to be a big leaguer. I would bet my house on that.
Yep.
Um,
That kid is
I
different.
yes, and I just think that when you have kids of that caliber, tell other kids this is where you need to be, this is who you need to play for. That I think to me is what I'm most proud of.
Yep. Just because
So I
there's no fluff
know
here, right?
no fluff, nope. And I think you're the same way. And I hear parents tell me this all the time. But I'm not scared to hurt somebody's feelings. If I tell them the
Yeah, and
truth, I mean, that's what they're after. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes the truth hurts, right? Hurts you, hurts me sometimes.
yeah.
Kind of an eye opener.
But I'll respect you more and you'll respect me more if we just have an open and honest conversation, right? You might not like it and I might not like it because those conversations aren't always fun, right? But at the end of the day, if our priority, which it has been and it always will be, the kids, then that's what we have to do. And we
Yep.
we we stay true to that. We do that every single day, especially in the landscape of what the recruiting world is now. Like there are so few spots. It's hard to play in college. You've got to
Yep.
be a really good baseball player, and on top of that, you've got to be a really good student. You've got to be a really good person because these coaches' livelihood relies on 18, 19, 20-year-old kids doing what they're supposed to do, and that's tough.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. No, I think 5 to 8 years ago, playing college baseball was not very hard,
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was
right?
easy, but it definitely wasn't as difficult as it is now.
No. 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 Definitely not. No. Now
Even
it's
the JUCO world, right? Like a lot of junior colleges would bring in,
yeah.
they'd have a roster of 80 guys sometimes in the fall. So, I
Yep.
mean, think about how many junior colleges are in the country. If half of them are doing that, it's a lot of kids on a college roster that today aren't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, right now, kids that came in the fall, and they carried 40, 50 guys in the fall in the travel squad, they carry 36 now or 34, whatever it is, whatever that number
Yep.
is. I mean, that's 15 kids without places to play.
Out of
And you
home.
can't go to JUCO because JUCO already has their guys.
Yep.
So,
It's tough,
um,
man. You've got to make sure you're
yeah,
on your P's and Q's. You've got to be ready to perform day one,
yep.
both physically and mentally.
And
And
in the
it's just tough.
classroom because they're not going to take
Yep.
kids that can't make grades.
Yep. And in college, it's not like high school, right? Like you have to have a certain GPA and all that in high school, but you got to take care of your business in the classroom. The NCAA will tell you that you can't play. Like there's no way around it.
Yep, yep, that's right. So since your biggest thing for us is the recruiting aspect, the kids, I want to talk about some guys, talk about some alumni that we have out in the world, the college baseball ranks right now. I wanted to start with Eli Brooks. Eli is at Randolph-Macon. This is his junior year. Freshman year, he had 8 appearances, hit 500, 5 runs, on base percentage of 667. So that's pretty good. As a sophomore,
he's standing on second.
Oh, absolutely. He has some kind of wheels. As a sophomore, he appeared in 34 games, had 23 starts. I believe they played in the College World Series last year. Is that right?
They did.
Yep. Randolph-Macon was in the College World Series. Oh, absolutely. This year he's played in 3 games. He has 8 at-bats. He has a couple hits, a couple walks, a couple bags. Just starting to kind of heat up a little bit. They play in a pretty decent conference.
The ODAC's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, the ODAC's got some good players. We've got a couple players in the ODAC. But I think Eli by far is one of the top guys there, as far as I'm concerned.
And another one who's comes from a great family, good kid, really good kid to have in the dugout, high energy, always laughing and joking, like just a really good dugout guy.
Yep, for sure. I want to go next to Nate Hollenbeck. Nate is down at Brunswick. Another kid that you placed. This year has 4 appearances, 23 and 2/3 innings, 15 strikeouts, .72 WHIP, and a 1.52 ERA. Just filling up the zone. The kid doesn't walk anybody. You're in the game the whole time where he's in there. I mean, what do you got on Nate?
Yeah, I think Hollenbeck is a kid, right? Like he's at Brunswick, who finished national runner-up last year in the Division II College World Series, right?
Yep.
So it's not a slouch program. It's a really good program. Coach Allen there does a really good job, and he's one of the really great baseball minds in the Carolinas that gets overlooked every once in a while. But Hollenbeck was a kid out of high school who, he's tall, he's long, he's lanky, a lot of moving levers in his delivery, and he was 84 to 86, right? And those guys are all over the place, but guys that are 6'4", 6'5" aren't. So, Coach Allen, he went to a camp, liked him, took him, and I mean, he's a weekend guy now.
Yeah,
he's a guy as he gets bigger and stronger. I think he'll pitch at a high level Division II, mid-major Division I after his time at JUCO, as long as he takes care of business in the classroom, which I have no doubt that he will. But another good kid, wanted to be in the South, and he's lucky enough to play for one of the top programs in the country, regardless of level. I think.
Yeah,
I think Brunswick puts 8 or 9 guys at the Division I level every year, not counting Division II, Division III, and everywhere else.
Yep. Every year they have at least 8 guys playing Division I baseball. That's a good number. Like if I'm thinking about a JUCO, I think Brunswick's got to be one of the top ones on the list simply because of their placement.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 or 4 in the Carolinas that would be, top picks for me. It's Brunswick, it's Flodar if I'm an arm. Those guys pump out 90+ arms like it's nobody's business. Gaston, who's relatively new on the scene, but I think they probably have the highest winning percentage out of anyone in the country in the last 3 years. And they call themselves a destination JUCO, and they have turf field. Perfect Game helped them out with that. I think they've placed everybody. They've had a couple of draft picks. Like the college baseball in the Carolinas is different.
Yep. Yeah, it sure is. I want to scoot over to another one of my former players, O'Neal Feliz. He's at Highland in Florida, redshirt freshman, hitting .341, 2 home runs, 12 RBIs. O'Neal was a guy, he played for us for one fall. He called us, he came in, Coach, I need a spot, I need some help. I said, yeah, man, let's do it. And this is a kid that, I think he played 3 tournaments for us, and I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me right, he was like 14 for his first 14. He didn't get out until the third tournament. And I'll never forget, I'm coaching first base, and I let our assistant coach third. And O'Neill gets up. He's a right-handed hitter, and he hits a missile to the right fielder. We're playing power baseball down in Florida, and he just hits a rocket to the right fielder, and the right fielder didn't move, and he put his glove up, and he caught it. And O'Neill ran through the bag, and he turned towards the dugout. We're in the first base dugout. He turned towards the dugout, and he put his head down. And I said, man, what's wrong? And he kind of looked at me, and he smirked, and he goes, no more 1,000. Put his head down and walked back into the dugout. And I was like, you know what? Okay, like, here we go. And that's the kind of kid that O'Neill was. He just great kid, good ball player, and my God, he can hit.
I never saw him play. I never coached him like you did, but I think I talked to like 4 or 5 people after the first event or two, and they were like, this kid just hits. Like,
Yep.
everything he hits is hard. He just hits. And, if you hit, you don't sit, right?
That's right. That's right. I'll never forget the first time I saw him warm up. We're in the outfield warming up, and O'Neill and Felix Gonzalez were over in the corner, and Felix is on a knee, and he looks like he's flicking something at him. And O'Neill has a sawed-off broomstick with a bat grip on the end of it, and Felix is flicking coffee beans at him, and O'Neill is just destroying these coffee beans with a broomstick. And
because he's from the Dominican Republic, right?
He's Dominican.
That's what they do.
Yep. And my God, he's good at it. So, Manny, you got any guys you want to talk about? We covered Deerdorf already. We covered your son already. So,
yeah, I mean, that guy, he's the best. But the one I wanted to touch on was another one in that 22 class who played with Deerdorf. He's at University of Maryland Eastern Shore. He has helped them this year. They broke I think they were on like a 60-something game losing streak. He helped them break that. His name's Diego Aponte. He right now through 16 games, 16 starts, he's hitting 368. Only 9 strikeouts in 16 games, 2 home runs, 19 RBIs. He's another one that was like O'Neill. He just hits. He hits from the left side. Great approach. He's not a huge power guy. He can poke one out there every once in a while when he needs to. But I'll tell you what, he's left-handed, and if he was right-handed, he'd be a shortstop. That kid has some of the best hands I've ever seen in my life. Yep. Good kid, always smiling, laughing, joking with people. And he went to JUCO out of high school from Puerto Rico, did what he was supposed to do there. Now he's playing Division I baseball, and has become a leader in that program. I mean, hitting 370 through 16 games is no slouch, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So happy for him, proud of him. And I think he's got a chance. If he keeps hitting, he's got a chance. I think he'll be like an undrafted free agent signed by somebody.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah. I watched Diego play in one event, and it seemed like that everything that came near first base, he caught. I mean, whoever threw it, whoever hit it, if it was in his vicinity, ended up in his glove. And, talk about hitting, like, I watched him hit. I was really impressed with his approach, right? And he hit a ton of doubles that year. And it sounded different, right? The sound off his bat's a little different as far as contact, right? It wasn't a ton of juice. Like, there wasn't a ton of lift to it, but he hit the ball hard every single time. And, he's an impressive young man, to say the least.
Yeah, with these high school kids, doubles turn into home runs once they get their man strength a little bit. And I think that's what happened with him.
There you go. Who else you got?
So I got one that's a little different. So another one on that 22 team, Will Jones out of Overland Park, Kansas. He played with us for about a year and a half. He played with us this summer, came back for a fall, and I think high school season started and all that good stuff. He initially committed and signed to Southern down in Louisiana. That's where his family is originally from. That's where he wanted to be. So was happy for him there. Turns out, not only is he pretty fast on the baseball field, but he's in the running for a national championship right now at University of Southern California on their track team. He's been there for a couple of years now. I think he missed Olympic qualifying by just a few seconds last year. Like, super happy for that kid. That family.
It was under a second. It was under a second. Yeah, it was under 1 second. He missed the Olympics by.
I mean, super happy for that kid. The mom and dad are great. I think his sister is actually a pretty good track runner too. So I think she's getting some looks. So I mean, he's another kid who came in, he had a little bit going on, and again, just because of what he did and his athleticism and all that kind of stuff, some people took notice,
Yep.
and he took care of business. But he found another passion in running. He had run track before, and then decided, hey, I'm committed now. I'm taken care of. I've signed my letter of intent. I'm gonna go have some fun my senior year, and broke all kinds of records in Kansas that year. I think maybe even holds a national record or two right now in the 400. And I think he's having a blast out there in sunny Southern California.
Yep.
So super happy for that kid.
Absolutely. Yeah, Will's a great kid. I'll never forget you called me and you're like, hey, I don't think Will's going to play baseball anymore. I'm like, man, what are you talking about? Yeah, he's going to go run track at USC. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I can get behind that.
It's worked out well for him, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And then the next phone call I think I got from you about him was, hey, Will's running to try out for the Olympics. Yep. And I said, okay. I said, well, what happens if he makes it? And you were like, I'm going to Paris. Like, well, I guess I'm going to Paris with you.
That's right.
So that would have been something. I hope he gets his shot here in the next couple of years to do it. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome for him. Couldn't happen to another person, I don't think.
Oh,
that seems to be a theme. Like every person we talk about, we're like, man, it's such a good kid, good person, good family.
Yeah,
because that's the important stuff, right?
Yep, absolutely. So I'm gonna give a shout out to one of our former players, even though he's still in high school. Evan Janeo the other day, hit his first high school home run. And ever since he's been on a tear. Everything has been on the barrel. Really starting to put it together, starting to get some confidence. And I bring Evan up because I want to segue into our next guy that I want to talk about. Evan in the fall committed to Pfeiffer. And, I think that kind of helped him relieve a lot of the pressure and the stress that he was under about playing baseball. And it allowed him to start off this year in high school being more successful, playing more loose, more free, and he's finding some more success. Exactly. It's fun now, right? It's not a job. Yep. And the next player I want to talk about, former player of ours, now a coach at Pfeiffer in Thomas Welton. And you coach Thomas. So, when you first met him, what were your thoughts?
Welton he's one of those where he is wise above his years. I met him, he was a 17-year-old kid, but he probably could have coached me that summer. Super smart baseball guy. He's really good at picking up tendencies, really good at knowing like what buttons to push with his teammates and things like that. So it's no surprise to me that he's 21, 22 now, and he's already coaching in college. I don't think that shocks anybody that knows him at all. Super smart kid too. I think he'll graduate with his degree this year.
Yep. He graduates in May.
But I will never let him live down his performance at East Cobb that year. every time he sees me, he knows it's coming up. So
yeah.
I don't ever want to hear him yelling at pitchers about throwing strikes.
Yeah. Now Thomas was a guy, I had him since he was 14 years old. I kind of worked with him. I taught him a little bit how to pitch. I taught him some breaking balls. He was one of those guys. He didn't throw very hard. He's kind of a crafty lefty. And he struggled there to get guys out for a little bit. And I told him, look, let's try some different stuff. Let's maybe drop your slot. Let's get you a runner. Let's get you a better changeup. Right? Like work backwards. Like let's try to throw a little bit harder, but not much. And let's try to just get guys out as efficiently and as quickly as we can. And he really took to it. He got his offer from Pfeiffer. He went. He was hurt when he went in. He got hurt his senior year of high school. He was hurt when he went in. I think he only had like 5 innings in 2 years. And then he goes and he tells the coach, "Hey, like, look, I want to coach at the next level. Like, I don't think I'm cut out to be a player." And when we say he's a coach, he is the pitching coach at Pfeiffer. He is not an
He's not a
assistant.
grad
He is
assistant.
not.
He's not anything like
No,
that. Yeah.
no, he's not a student coach. He is the pitching coach. He will go. I don't think because he's still technically in class, he could be on salary. But
Yep.
I think I'm almost positive as soon as he graduates, they have a full-time paid
Yep.
position for him at Pfeiffer.
And he's one of those kids. I talked to him after his freshman year at our scout day that we always do in January. Said, "Hey man,
Yep.
how'd it go this year? I know you were. It's tough, right?" He was like, "I learned a lot about charting because
Yeah.
that's what he did. He's hurt.
Yep.
He was on the GIMP squad, right? So he charted a lot, and you learn a lot about tendencies. And he didn't take it as, oh man, I got to chart. Like this sucks. I'm not playing.
Yep.
I want to play. He took it as a learning experience, and I think that speaks to the level of maturity in Thomas that a lot of kids just don't have.
Yep. Yep. That's right. That's right. Okay. All right. Well, that I think that's going to do it for our alumni guys. Unless you have anybody else.
Not off the top of my head, I know. I mean, it's hard to keep up sometimes. We have so many. I know that
Yeah.
sounds kind of funny with 150, but I know there's a couple of guys in high school right now. Aaron Orozco, yeah, I think he hit his 5th home run last night. Baylor
He's
commit.
killing it. He is killing it.
That kid, he's a professional one day too, I think.
Yep.
Good kid, great personality, just has a lot of fun playing baseball. So we've got some guys. I think Jack Strom, PBR had him as a helium riser in the draft a couple of days ago. He's an
Yep.
ECU signee. So like we've got some guys that are doing some really good things right now, and I hope they all stay happy and healthy through the season, and let the chips fall where they may. Don't stress yourself too much. It's your senior year. Have some fun, because at the end of the day, we're lucky enough to be around a game, and then we have to
Yep.
see it as that.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So we're going to segue into our next topic right here. We're going to talk about some of our teams, and Manny's biggest thing for us is he recruits all types of kids, and not just for our scout teams, not just for our Marucci teams. He also recruits some guys for our Victus teams as well, although not as many. But we still, we have two different squads. We have a Marucci squad and we have a Victus squad. The Marucci scout teams are typically national players playing national level events. Most of those guys are Division I, type players, some draft type guys. And then we have our Victus squads. Our Victus squads are, they play in regional tournaments. They're typically from more of a regional setting. Majority of our regional guys are here on the East Coast. Whereas, as far as our Marucci scout team goes, we have kids from, California, from Texas, from Arizona,
Hawaii,
Utah,
Puerto Rico,
all over the place.
all over the place.
Yep, absolutely. So I want to do a little bit with our Victus squads today. I think we're going to start with our 2027 Victus Southeast team, coached by Joe Curcio, I think is how you say his name. I probably butchered that. And one of our former players, Tim Hudson, is going to be the pitching coach on that team.
He had his first appearance the other day.
He did. He actually had his second appearance yesterday.
Did he?
So, yep. He's doing it. Tim's doing well. And he's going to, he called me and said, hey, you know what? I want to coach. And I said, you know what? I got a team for you. So we're going to let Tim do the pitching stuff on the Victus Southeast team. Their schedule real quick. They're going to go down to Palm Beach and play in the Palm Beach Classic. They're going to come up to Charlotte, play an event in Charlotte. They're going to go to Black Bear at Clemson. They're going to go to the PBR Select in Atlanta, and then they're going to go to the Northeast World Series. A lot of Prospect Select events for that group. We think that Prospect Select does a great job as far as getting the necessary schools there to see those players. And they feel a lot like we do about recruiting. It's not all about the Power 5 guys anymore, right? Prospect Select gets all kinds of different schools to come watch their events. And that's why for us, with these Victus teams, it seems that, they're going to be probably a little more centric on Division II, Division III, and JUCO. And so playing in these events gives our players the best opportunity to get seen.
Yeah, a couple of things. Prospect Select does a great job, not only with the facilities that they get for these events and things like that, but with the social media part of it and getting these kids seen. Just, I mean, they do a great job. They always have data to go with everything. It's not just there's no fluff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It is what it is. And I
Yep.
think talking about the Victus teams, right? That goes back to some of the conversations we have. A lot of these kids are coming from maybe smaller organizations where they are on the top team and they maybe are the best player in the organization, right? But us knowing what we know, as little or as much as you think that is, right? It's having those tough conversations with, hey, I think this is where you fit. Let us put you in the best position to play at the next level.
Yep.
And
Yep.
those aren't always easy conversations, but the fact that we have those teams are full, right? With kids that we
Yep.
believe in and that believe in us. And that makes I'm super proud of that because that just speaks to the type of people we have in our organization.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Couple key returners for that 2027 team. Shortstop Ryder Mowbray, just a vacuum cleaner in the middle, can play all three positions. Left-handed stick, I think fits in the 2-hole on that team pretty well. Logan Welsh is a speedy center fielder, cannon for an arm, knack for the ball. I think he's going to be the leadoff hitter. And then Gavin Mossler is going to be the backstop on that team. Just big frame, big body, left-handed hitter. Got some juice to the pull side. Still kind of developing his body, and I think that the more that he gets that, the more that he develops, the more that he kind of grows into himself, the better player that he's going to be. A couple newcomers I'm really excited to see. Jackson Bauer, left-handed arm from Wake Forest High School. He's joining us this year. He's going to pitch a little bit. He'll play some first base. He'll probably play some outfield. Jackson's a right-handed hitter. He's got some juice from the right side. I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think he profiles as an arm at the next level, but he can really spin the baseball. It's funky. It's heavy. Super excited what he can do. And then the last newcomer is actually Logan Welsh's brother, Landon, who is going to play opposite of Mowbray in the middle. Landon is a silky smooth infielder, good arm, tough out at the dish. We are going to play him up a year. He is a 2028. We are going to play him on the 2027 team. Something that we do to kind of help the parents out, right? Like,
Sure.
Two kids in travel baseball on different teams, like mom and dad never see each other that summer. The boys never see each other that summer. So we said, you know what? Instead of splitting them up, yeah, there you go. That's right. That's not something that we want to do. So instead of splitting them up, we put them on the same team. I definitely think that Landon can compete at that level. I think that Landon and Ryder up the middle, that's a pretty good tandem.
100%.
All right, next we are going to go to the 28 Southeast Victus team, coached by former Dodger scout teamer Jimmy Blunt, and then Chris Davidson. Chris is a former pro pitcher drafted by the Orioles out of East Cobb. Went to Western Carolina and then drafted by the Orioles. Pitched for 4 or 5 years with the Orioles. He and Jimmy are going to head up this team. They actually coached the team last year. Jimmy's another kid. Who Manny was saying, we help all types of kids, right? Jimmy was from a small town in Virginia in Roanoke, had an offer to play baseball at Roanoke College. They're a small D3, and said, you know what? I want a bigger college experience. And I said, all right, what do you have in mind? And he said, well, I think I want to go to Virginia Tech. And I said, my man, power to you. I said, you go do that. I said, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want a big college experience, if you want to study engineering at Tech, by all means, do that. I support you 100%. Jimmy was happy. Jimmy actually works for the baseball team at Tech. He's one of the baseball managers. So that's a cool thing for him. He's going to come back. He's going to lead this team for the second year. Their training or their schedule is kind of similar to the 2027 team. They'll go down to Palm Beach and play. They'll play in Charlotte. They'll play in Black Bear. The last 2 tournaments, they're going to go to the South Carolina World Series, and then they're going to go up to the Northeast Open up in Philly. So quick run over their schedule. Some key returners that we have: Ray Hamburger, outfielder. Ray has has quietly turned himself into the most improved ball player over the last 2 years. Great kid, works his tail off. I think he's starting right now on his JV squad, which is a big deal. As a freshman,
Sure.
he hits, man. He has slowly turned himself into one of the most improved players in our organization. Next key returner, infielder Thomas Greer. Thomas was a little undersized the last couple years, and I went a few months without seeing him, and then I see him at the scout day, and he's bigger, he's stronger, he's moving better, he's hitting the crap out of the ball. His arm strength is tremendously better, and he's one of those guys. After scout day, I called his dad and I said, "Hey, man," I said, "Look, I want you to understand how proud I am of your son for working as hard as he has worked to turn himself into the ball player that he is now." I think that Thomas has a shot to play at the next level if he continues to develop and improve. I don't think he's a D1 guy, but you don't have to be to play college baseball, right? There's a bunch of different levels that you can play at, but I think he could definitely find a home somewhere in the infield at a 4-year school. Last guy I want to talk about, Chase Davidson. Chase is, yes, Chris's son. Yes, he is a pitcher, long and lanky, command of the strike zone, 3 pitches. As he grows and continues to develop, I see him turning out kind of like his dad, right? Chase is going to be a late bloomer, and that's okay. But, at the end of the day, he's got 3 pitches. He's going to be a workhorse. He's just going to grow into his body, and he's going to continue to lead that 2028 pitching staff for the Victus team. 2 newcomers to that team, Andrew Causey, sophomore arm that's age eligible to play 28. So typically, Manny and I agree that's not something that we do, but Andrew hasn't played summer baseball in 2 years because of injury. So I thought what's best for Andrew was for him to play his age, not his grad year, to kind of get his feet wet and get used to the travel. There you go. Yep. Get used to it again and go from there. Really excited to see what Andrew's going to do on that team. And the next guy, Giancarlo Cuesta from New York. Got a phone call from one of our guys, Johnny Montañez, up in Connecticut, and said, "Hey, I've got a kid that goes to my son's school that needs a place to play, that's not happy with his current organization. Would you guys be interested?" And absolutely. Talked to the kid, talked to the dad, and really excited to watch Giancarlo play. I think that as a catcher, he's a little taller, kind of like Gavin is. Little taller kid, got some pop, can really catch and throw, and is going to be a workhorse on that 2028 team. The last team I think that I'm going to cover today is our 2029 Northeast Victus team, led by Harry Bonhomme and Elian Polanco. Harry is real. He's a really important part of what we're trying to build, especially in the Northeast. Harry owns a baseball academy in the Dominican Republic. We're going to get some access to those guys, to bring some of those guys over to play for our group. Harry just had a player signed for $800,000 out of the Dominican Republic as a 15-year-old to the Rockies, and just really important to what we're doing. I don't think their schedule is completely finalized, so I'm going to go ahead and skip over that, but I am going to go through some key players on that Northeast team. I think Harry's son, Harry Jr., is going to be a big addition to that team. Playing some catcher, he'll pitch, play some third base, play some first base. Henry Colonna, who's another infielder and a pitcher, big deal for that team, locks it down on the mound. Owen DeLeo, who is their spark plug. I think he's their leadoff guy. Always on base, always just causing havoc on the base paths. And then Angel Torres, who's the last guy on that team I want to talk about. Ainge came down to scout day with Harry, and really put on a show. I think as Ainge continues to develop, he ends up on the scout team at some point, helping that 2029 scout team compete in some of their tournaments this summer. Couple newcomers.
Team's pretty good.
Yeah, they are. They started out, as just a local group, and now we're starting to add some pieces to it. Couple newcomers. I'm really interested to watch how they perform. JT Martin. JT is a grown man at 2029. He's big. He's physical. He throws the crap out of it. He hits the crap out of it. Really excited to see JT this summer. He's another one that I could see in the future ending up on the scout team. And then another newcomer who I'm really excited to see play is Holden Heath. Holden's brother Hayden played for us on the 2025 scout team. He played on our academic team. Hayden is committed to William Peace here in Raleigh. Younger brother Holden, different type of player. Infielder, not quite the wheels that Hayden had, but Holden has a knack for the ball. He's a tough out. He's a hard-nosed kid. I give him crap all the time. For those of you that don't know, we have a facial hair and hair policy, grooming policy. Your hair on your head, you can't have wings coming out your hat. You can't have hair that would cover your collar on a polo shirt. So I give Holden crap all the time. I said, you can have that hair for as long as you want, or until Memorial Day, when I'm going to cut it for you if you don't have it cut. Holden, he's a great kid, man. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. He's going to be playing up. He's a 2030. I'm going to let him play up on the 2029 team. I think he really fills a lot of holes on Harry's team and his ability to play multiple positions and to pitch. So really excited about that 2029 Lynx team.
That playing multiple positions is important at that age. You're young. Learn how to play multiple positions, make yourself more valuable to your team and hopefully to your college coach one day.
Yep, absolutely. So those are our Victus teams. We will cover our youth team next time, our 2030 Northeast team. I'll kind of give everybody the spiel on that next time. Manny, any of our sponsors or partners that you want to plug real quick?
Yeah, I think the first one, right, the big one is Marucci. I've ordered a bunch of their stuff recently, from the joggers to the golf pants, the shorts, and all that. That stuff is it's high quality. It's so if you're on the fence while ordering some of their stuff, do it. There's no question about it. It is some of the best stuff in the game. Big thanks to Chinook. They're working with some of our guys now, helping some of our guys with some of the NIL stuff. And if you haven't had the seeds, they are totally different. They don't give you like the dry mouth. They're just better. Less sodium, healthier for you. So try them. If you need a code, some of our guys have them.
Yeah, how many guys do we have with it now? 5 or 6?
5 or 6, yeah.
Yep. 5 or 6 of our guys can now make some NIL money with Chinook, with the seeds. Jump online, use their code, and they get some of those proceeds right back to them.
Yep.
And that's a thing that Manny. Well, I say Manny and I. Really, Manny is kind of taking the lead on is this NIL initiative, and helping our players, make some money off the field. Everybody else is doing it. Why don't our players have a chance to do it as well? Right. I think I'm going to plug Go Route real quick. I actually talked to Mike last night. Go Route's the leading coach-to-player communication system in baseball right now. They're in college baseball. They're in youth baseball. They're in football. They do all kinds of stuff, man. Mike, they make a great product. I used it last summer for a few tournaments. It was actually a way that I could keep my catcher that wasn't catching in the game. I let him call the pitches. So I gave him the iPad. The pitcher and the catcher had the Go Route, the watch on, and I let the backup or the guy that wasn't playing that day call the pitches. So it was a way to keep more guys involved in the game rather than just sitting and watching. This year, Go Route's going to hook us up, and our whole 2026 team. I think everyone on the field is going to have one. So we're going to do bunt plays. We're going to do pickoffs. We're going to do first and thirds. Offensive signs, and the pitch calling. on the go route. So, I mean, Manny, I know
big.
you coached for a little bit, but the one thing that always drove me crazy was guys missing signs.
Yeah, it drives me nuts, especially like with the simplicity of our signs. Just because I mean they're kids and they're still learning, and we don't see them all year long, and it drives me nuts. And Go Route has helped us kind of mitigate that issue.
Yep.
Because there's
Yep.
no excuse
more
anymore.
excuses, right? No more excuses for missing signs.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, Manny, thank you very much for joining us. Everybody, like, listen, and subscribe. Safe travels, buddy, and I'll see you soon.
Cool. Thanks, man. I'll talk to you later.
You got it.